Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is absolutely nothing. Come. You ever notice how people don't appreciate something until it's gone? How they take things for granted when it's always there, come, always available. That's exactly what happens in relationships. The more you give, the more they expect. The more you talk, the more they ignore, come. But the moment you go quiet, the moment you step back, that's when they start paying attention. You want them to feel your absence, come. You want him to miss you, to realize your worth, to finally understand what he had, then stop talking, stop explaining, come. Stop trying to make him see what should have been obvious all along. Because when you go silent, when you remove yourself from his world, come, that's when reality hits him. That's when he starts wondering. That's when he starts missing. This isn't about games, come. This isn't about manipulation. This is about knowing your worth and refusing to beg for someone to see it, come. So if you're tired of feeling unappreciated, if you're done being ignored, then listen up, because today, come, I'm going to tell you exactly why silence is your greatest weapon and how to use it to make him feel your absence in a way he'll never forget, come. When you talk too much, you make it easy for someone to ignore you. Think about it. When you constantly explain yourself, justify your feelings, come, or remind someone of what they should already know, they stop listening. They start taking your words for granted, come. It's like background noise. They hear it, but they don't really listen. And that's where most people go wrong, come. They think if they just say it one more time, if they explain it better, if they make him understand, then suddenly everything will change, come. But it doesn't work like that. The more you talk, the less he listens. The more you try to convince him, come, the more comfortable he gets ignoring you. Now here's the truth. Silence forces attention. When you stop talking, come, you remove the comfort of predictability. He's used to you being there, to you reaching out, to you explaining yourself. The moment you stop, come, there's a shift, a void. And that void is what makes him notice. Because now he doesn't know what you're thinking. Come, he doesn't know how you feel. He doesn't know if you're mad, if you're done, or if you've moved on. And that right there, come, is what makes him start paying attention. When someone thinks they have unlimited access to you, they stop valuing it. It's human nature, come. People don't appreciate water until they're thirsty. They don't appreciate warmth until they're cold. And they don't appreciate your presence until it's gone. But the moment you go silent, the moment you step back and stop explaining yourself, come. That's when they start questioning. That's when they start wondering. That's when they realize something is missing. And let's be clear, this isn't about being petty or playing games. This is about respecting yourself enough to not beg for attention, come. You're not punishing him. You're not trying to make him suffer. You're simply allowing him to experience life without your presence, come, without your constant words, without your reassurance. And that is what will make him start to see your value, come. A lot of people make the mistake of thinking they need to argue to be heard. They think they need to yell, cry, come, or keep pushing until the other person understands. But here's the thing. Understanding doesn't come from constant talking, come. Understanding comes from experience. And nothing makes someone understand your value more than feeling your absence, come. Think about a time when you had something good, but you didn't fully appreciate it until it was gone. Maybe it was a relationship, a friendship, come, an opportunity. At the time, you didn't think much of it. It was just there. But then one day it wasn't. And suddenly, come, you realize just how important it was. That's exactly what happens when you stop talking and step back, come. It gives him space to realize what he had. Now, here's where most people mess up. They go silent for a little while, but then they get impatient, come. They start wondering if he notices, if he's thinking about them, if he's missing them yet. And because they're looking for a reaction, come, they end up breaking the silence too soon. They send that text, make that call, or drop some hint that they're still there. But when you do that, come, you take away the impact. You give him the comfort of knowing he still has access to you. And all that wondering, all that curiosity disappears. Come. True silence means standing firm. It means resisting the urge to check in, to see if he cares, to see if he's thinking about you. Come. Because trust me, if you were an important part of his life, he will feel your absence. He will start to wonder. And when a man starts wondering, that's when he starts missing. That's when he starts remembering all the things he took for granted. Come. That's when he starts realizing that maybe, just maybe, he made a mistake. So if you want to be heard, stop talking. Come. If you want him to notice you, stop chasing. If you want him to see your value, stop handing it to him on a silver platter. Come. Let him experience what life feels like without you constantly being there. Let him sit with the silence. Let him feel that emptiness. Because when you do, you won't have to convince him of your worth. He'll figure it out all on his own. Come. People underestimate the power of mystery. In today's world, where everyone overshares, where people are always explaining, justifying, and putting everything out there, mystery stands out. And when it comes to relationships, that mystery is what keeps someone intrigued, engaged, and thinking about you long after you're gone. When you're too available, when you answer every question, when you explain every feeling, there's nothing left for the other person to figure out. They think they've got you all figured out, and that's when they start losing interest. Now, let me tell you something about human nature. People don't appreciate what they fully understand. They appreciate what they have to work for, what they have to earn, what they have to think about. That's why silence is so powerful. When you go quiet, when you stop explaining, when you stop being predictable, you create a sense of mystery. And that mystery makes him start thinking about you in ways he never did before. See, most people make the mistake of thinking that talking more, explaining more, proving more will make someone appreciate them. But it does the opposite. It makes the other person tune you out. It makes them take you for granted because they know you'll always be there. But when you go silent, when you stop updating him on your every move, when you stop making it easy for him to know what's going on in your life, you create a gap. And in that gap, curiosity is born. Curiosity is what makes people come back. It's what makes someone wonder what you're up to, what you're thinking, how you're feeling. And the moment someone starts wondering about you, they start missing you. Because now they don't have answers. Now, they don't know if you've moved on. Now, they don't know if you're even thinking about them anymore. And that right there is what makes someone start to value you in a whole new way. Imagine this. Two people break up. One of them keeps calling, texting, trying to explain, trying to remind the other person of what they had, the other one. They go quiet. They focus on themselves. They live their life without making a big announcement about it. Now, who do you think is more powerful in that situation? Who do you think is going to be missed more? It's not the one who's constantly reaching out. It's the one who disappeared without a word. Because now the other person has questions. They don't have closure. They don't know what's going on. And that uncertainty makes them start thinking, start wondering, start missing. And this isn't about playing games. This isn't about manipulating someone into wanting you. This is about knowing your worth and understanding human psychology. When you go quiet, you shift the power dynamic. You stop giving him control over your emotions. You stop making him feel like he has you whenever he wants. Instead, you make him work for it. You make him wonder, you make him question, and that's when he starts realizing your value. Now, here's where most people go wrong. They go silent for a few days, maybe a week, and then they get impatient. They start wondering if he's noticed yet, if he's thinking about them, if he's missing them. And because they're looking for a reaction, they end up breaking the silence. They send that text. They post something just to get his attention. They do something to remind him they're still there. But the moment you do that, you lose all the power you just built up. You take away the mystery. You give him the answer he was looking for. And just like that, he stops thinking about you. Come. If you really want to make him feel your absence, you have to be patient. You have to trust that the silence is doing the work for you. Come. Because if you were important to him, he's going to feel it. He's going to notice the shift. And when he does, come. That's when the real change happens. That's when he starts looking back, remembering all the good times, regretting the way he treated you. Come. But you have to give it time. So don't explain yourself. Don't try to prove anything. Come. Don't break the silence just to see if he's paying attention. Just go quiet and let him feel the difference. Because when you stop talking, come. When you stop making it easy for him, that's when he truly starts to miss you. Come. That's when he realizes that losing you isn't something he can just brush off. That's when he starts questioning everything. Come. And that right there is how you win. Not by chasing, not by convincing, but by making him feel your absence in a way he never expected. Come. When you stop chasing someone, something interesting happens. They start wondering where you went. Come. They start questioning why you're no longer giving them attention, why you're no longer reaching out, why you're suddenly missing from their life. See, people are used to being chased. They are used to others proving their worth. Come. Trying to convince them to care and fighting for their attention. But the moment you stop doing that, come. The moment you remove yourself from that cycle, you create a shift. That shift makes them uncomfortable. And when people get uncomfortable, come. They start thinking. And when they start thinking, they start missing. Come. Most people make the mistake of believing that if they don't constantly remind someone of their presence, they'll be forgotten. Come. They think that if they don't keep reaching out, they'll lose their chance. Come. But here's the truth. Real value doesn't have to beg to be noticed. Real value doesn't have to prove itself over and over again. Come. When you know your worth, you don't chase. You don't run after people who don't see what you bring to the table. You remove yourself and let them realize what they lost. Now, here's where it gets powerful. When you stop chasing, come. You force them to deal with the space you leave behind. And in that space, they start feeling your absence. They start realizing how much energy, come, love and attention you were giving them. They start noticing the silence where your words used to be, come, the stillness where your presence used to fill their life. And the longer you stay away, the more they start to feel it. Come, think about it. When something is always available, people take it for granted. They assume it'll always be there, come, so they don't pay attention to it. But the moment it's gone, that's when they realize how much they depended on it, come. That's when they start wishing they hadn't overlooked it. That's when they start wanting it back. Now, let's be real. At first, come, they might not notice. They might even act like they don't care. But that's just because they expect you to come running back, come. They assume that eventually you'll break the silence, that you'll miss them so much you won't be able to resist reaching out. Come. But the longer you hold your ground, the more they start to doubt that assumption. They start questioning whether they misjudged you. Come. They start wondering if you've moved on, if you've found someone else, if you've realized you deserve better. And that uncertainty, come, that's what makes them start thinking about you in a whole new way. Silence is powerful because it shifts the control. When you were chasing them, come, they had all the power. They knew they could respond when they wanted, that they could take their time, come, that they could decide when and how to engage with you. But when you stop chasing, you take that power back. Now, come. They're the ones who have to decide what to do. They're the ones left with questions. They're the ones wondering what's going on with you. Come. And suddenly they're feeling what you once felt, the longing, the curiosity, the regret. And this isn't about manipulation. Come. This isn't about playing games or trying to trick someone into wanting you. This is about understanding human nature. Come. People value what they have to work for. They appreciate what isn't handed to them on a silver platter. Come. And if someone didn't appreciate you when you were giving them your time, your energy, and your heart, come. then taking those things away is the only way they're going to realize what they had. But here's the key. You have to be willing to walk away for real. You have to go silent, not as a tactic, but as a commitment to yourself. Come. If you're just doing it to get a reaction, it won't work. Because the moment you don't get that reaction fast enough, come, you'll break your silence. You'll start reaching out again, and all that power you gained gone. Instead, come. You have to go silent because you know you deserve more, because you know you shouldn't have to beg someone to see your worth. Come. Because you'd rather be alone than be undervalued. And when you move with that energy, when you truly embody that confidence, come. That's when they start to feel your absence in a way they never expected. So stop chasing. Stop proving. Stop trying to convince someone to see what you bring to the table. Instead, let your absence speak for itself. Because when you do that, come, you create the space for them to finally realize just how much you meant to them. And by the time they figure it out, come, they'll be the ones chasing you. When you pull back, when you go silent, you create a space that forces someone to think. Come. That silence isn't just the absence of words. It's the presence of mystery. And mystery is one of the most powerful forces in human psychology. Come. People are naturally curious. When something becomes uncertain, when something is no longer predictable, come. The mind starts working overtime trying to make sense of it. Think about it. When someone knows exactly what to expect from you, come. They don't have to put in any effort. They know that if they ignore you today, you'll still be there tomorrow. Come. They know that if they take their time responding, you'll still be waiting. They don't have to wonder about you. Come. Because you've made it clear that you'll always be around. But the moment that changes, the moment you stop reaching out, come. Stop explaining yourself. Stop making them feel secure in your presence. That's when the shift happens. Now, suddenly, come. They don't know where you stand. They don't know what you're thinking. They don't know if you're still waiting for them, come, or if you've moved on. That lack of certainty starts to eat away at them, and that's when they start feeling your absence in a real way. Come. They start replaying old conversations, questioning past decisions, wondering if they underestimated you. And that's exactly what you want. Come. Because the truth is, people don't appreciate something until they feel like they might lose it. Look at any relationship. Come. Any situation where someone took another person for granted. It's not until that person finally walks away that the realization kicks in. Come. And that's because human beings are wired to chase what they can't have. The more unavailable something becomes, the more valuable it seems. Come. And that's exactly what silence does. It makes you seem less available, less predictable, and therefore more desirable. But here's where most people mess up. They think that going silent means waiting for reaction. They sit there checking their phone, come, wondering why the other person hasn't reached out yet. They obsess over whether their silence is working. And in doing so, come, they completely miss the point. Going silent isn't about manipulating someone into chasing you. It's about regaining your own power, come, your own sense of self-worth, and showing through your actions that you are not dependent on anyone's validation. Come. The most effective kind of silence is the one that comes from genuine self-respect. It's when you stop engaging, come, not because you're trying to get a response, but because you truly no longer need one. You've realized that your time, your energy, come, and your love are valuable, and you refuse to keep giving them away to someone who doesn't appreciate them. Come. That kind of silence is powerful because it's real. And when it's real, the other person can feel it. People can sense desperation. Come. They can tell when someone is holding back just to get a reaction. But they can also sense when someone has truly moved on, come. When someone is truly at peace with themselves. And that's when they start missing you. Because now, come, it's not just about your absence. It's about the energy shift. They can feel that you've changed. They can feel that they no longer have the same control over you. And that scares them. Come. And here's the best part. By the time they realize all of this, you'll already be in a different place. Come. You'll already have started focusing on yourself, improving your life, surrounding yourself with better people, doing things that make you happy. Come. You won't be waiting by the phone. You won't be analyzing their every move. And because of that, your silence will be even louder. Come. When someone expects you to react a certain way and you don't, it throws them off. It forces them to see you in a new light. And more importantly, come. It forces them to reflect on their own behavior. Maybe they start to question why they didn't value you when they had the chance. Come. Maybe they start to wonder if they made a mistake. Maybe they start to feel the regret creeping in. Come. And that's when they come back, not because you chased them, but because they finally realize what they lost. So don't be afraid to go silent. Come. Don't be afraid to remove yourself from situations where you're not valued. Come. Don't be afraid to let someone sit with the emptiness you leave behind. Because when you do, become. That emptiness will start speaking louder than any words ever could. And in that silence, they will finally see your true worth. When you decide to pull back, to go silent, and let someone feel your absence, come. You have to understand one fundamental truth. Your value doesn't come from how much you give to someone who doesn't appreciate you. Come. It comes from knowing when to stop giving and start focusing on yourself. Come. The reason this works so powerfully is because most people only realize the worth of something once it's no longer easily available to them. Come. When you remove yourself, you create a void that forces them to recognize what they took for granted. At first, they may not react. Come. They may not immediately feel the shift. Why? Because they're used to you being there. They're used to the comfort of knowing that, come. No matter what they do, you'll always be waiting, always reaching out, always trying to fix things. But then, come. As time goes on and the silence remains, something changes. The absence starts to become noticeable. Come. The comfort they had in knowing you were always available begins to fade. And that's when the real realization kicks in. See, come. People get complacent when they feel like they have unlimited access to something or someone. It's just human nature. Come. When we know that something is always there, we stop putting in effort. We stop appreciating it. Come. It's only when it disappears that we start looking for it, wondering why it's gone, and feeling the loss. This applies to relationships, come friendships, careers, everything. The moment you step back and focus on yourself, rather than constantly pouring into someone else, come, is the moment they start feeling the shift. And here's the key. When you pull back, you have to really mean it. You can't just go silent for a few days, then break and reach out because you're anxious about whether it's working. Come. That's not real silence. That's a tactic. And people can sense that. If you're just being quiet to manipulate a reaction, come. You won't get the result you want. True silence, the kind that makes someone realize your absence, comes from a place of genuine self-respect. Come. It comes from deciding that you are no longer going to be someone's afterthought. The person on the other side might act like they don't care at first. They might go about their days as if nothing is different. Come. But don't let that fool you. The longer your absence stretches, the louder it becomes. It's like an echo. They might not hear it right away. Come. But eventually it starts bouncing back, making them think. And the longer they sit with that emptiness, the more uncomfortable it becomes. One day, come. They'll reach for their phone, instinctively expecting a message from you. But there won't be one. They'll scroll through old conversations, come, realizing that the last message was from them, not you. They'll start wondering what you're doing, who you're with, if you've moved on, come. And that's when the regret creeps in. And here's what makes this even more powerful. While they're busy realizing what they lost, come, you've already started building something better for yourself. You're not sitting around waiting for them to come back. You're using this time to grow, to improve, to focus on yourself in a way you never did before. Come. Because this isn't just about making someone feel your absence. It's about making sure that if they do come back, come. They're coming back to someone who is stronger, wiser, and no longer willing to accept the bare minimum. That's the real victory. Come. It's not about whether they miss you. It's about whether you even care if they do. Because when you reach that level, when you truly detach and focus on yourself, their absence no longer affects you the way it once did. And ironically, that's when they feel your absence the most. When they realize that the power dynamic has shifted, and you are no longer seeking their validation. So go silent, but do it for the right reasons. Not to play games, not to manipulate, but to reclaim your worth. Let them sit with the silence. Let them feel the space you once filled. Become, and most importantly, use that time to become the best version of yourself. Because when you do that, you won't just make them miss you. You'll make them realize they were never on your level to begin with. When you stop talking and let someone feel your absence, you are doing more than just cutting off communication. You are shifting the balance of power. It is not just about silence. It is about what that silence represents. It represents self-respect, confidence, and an understanding that your worth is not determined by someone else's attention or approval. It forces the other person to sit with their own thoughts, their own emotions, and ultimately, their own realization of what they had when they had you. At first, they may not notice. They may carry on as if nothing has changed. That's because they are used to you being available. They have taken your presence for granted. They have become comfortable with knowing that no matter how they act, no matter how little effort they put in, you will always be there, responding, explaining, fixing, or chasing. But the moment that stops, the moment you go silent and truly remove yourself, something in their world shifts. They may not admit it, but they feel it. The power of absence is something that cannot be ignored. It lingers in the air like a song that suddenly stopped playing. At first, they may enjoy the quiet, but soon they start to miss the melody. They begin to wonder where it went, why it stopped, and most importantly, if they will ever hear it again. That's when the weight of your absence starts pressing down on them. They begin to replay moments in their head, thinking about what was said, what wasn't said, and whether they made a mistake. The longer the silence lasts, the more they start questioning everything. Why haven't you reached out? Have you moved on? Have you realized you deserve better? Are you happier without them? These thoughts are unsettling, and the more they sit with them, the more restless they become. They may distract themselves at first, surrounding themselves with people, activities, or even trying to act like they don't care. But no matter how much they try to push it away, that little voice in their head keeps reminding them of what they lost. Here's the key. While they are busy feeling your absence, you are busy leveling up. This is where your focus should be. Do not just sit in silence, waiting and hoping they will realize your worth. Use this time to become better, stronger, and more fulfilled in your own life. Because the real power does not come from just making them miss you. It comes from making yourself so valuable that when they do come back, they realize they no longer have the same access to you. Silence should not be a tactic. It should be a transformation. It is not about playing games or trying to manipulate emotions. It is about genuinely stepping back and investing in yourself instead of pouring energy into someone who didn't appreciate it. When you stop chasing, when you stop begging for attention, you are sending a loud message without saying a single word. You are showing them that you do not need them to feel complete. The irony is, that realization is what makes them come back. They expected you to react. They expected you to be the same person who would always try to fix things. When that doesn't happen, when they see that you are unbothered, that's when they start to panic. Because now the one thing they were certain about, your presence, is no longer guaranteed. They start remembering all the little things they took for granted. The way you made them feel, the way you supported them, the way you cared. And suddenly they realize that no one else is giving them that. They might reach out, testing the waters, trying to see if they still have access to you. This is the defining moment, This is where you decide whether you are going to allow them back in or keep moving forward. Because once you understand your worth, once you see how powerful your absence truly is, you will not just accept someone back because they miss you. You will only accept them if they have changed, if they have grown, and if they are ready to match your energy. This is what real self-respect looks like. It is knowing that your value does not decrease just because someone failed to see it. It is understanding that your silence is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of strength, because it takes strength to walk away. It takes strength to stop talking, stop explaining, and stop trying to convince someone of your worth. The moment you do that, the moment you truly embrace your own value, is the moment they feel your absence the most. But here is the truth. Not everyone who misses you deserves another chance. Some people only miss you because they lost the control they once had. Some people only miss you because they can no longer use your presence to boost their ego. That is why you have to be careful. Do not let someone back into your life just because they finally realized what you were worth. Let them prove that they deserve a second chance. Let them show through actions, not just words, that they have changed. And if they do not if they never come back, or if they come back with the same behavior, then you keep moving forward. Because the goal was never to make them miss you. The goal was to make yourself so whole, so fulfilled, that their absence no longer affects you. That is the real power. That is how you truly win.